I like the weaponry a lot more. CeeDee Lamb's an absolute stud, a top 5 receiver. Now you bring in George Pickens on the outside, which is exactly what they needed, that X or Y receiver. I still like Ferguson at the tight end position. And what I love is, right, we don't really know who the hell is going to emerge in that running back room. So, not really a strong run game. You don't have Ezekiel Elliott from a decade ago there any longer. Not a terrible defense, but I do think that they'll be in some shootouts, especially with that schedule. So I'll say slightly undervalued. I would have him closer to like 13 to 11. Not top 10 any longer, but I would have him as that second tier quarterback, probably like 13 or 12.
No, I think he's going to be a top 12 quarterback. And in fact, I think he could be a top 10 quarterback this year. So I think he's grossly undervalued right now. I'm going to slam dunk the over on his player prop passing touchdown. And we're going to talk about that coming up in team props. But I like Dak quite a bit. His defense is going to be lousy. I'm probably going to be a bottom 10 unit this season. What does that mean? Well, it's going to boost the overall amount of pass attempts. And, you got George Pickens. And, you got CeeDee Lamb. And you got Jake Ferguson. You got Javonte Williams now as a decent pass catcher out of the backfield in that RBVC. I like the weapons around him. I really do, adding Pickens in to the mix. Mike Clay is kind of projected for almost 3,900 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 12 INTs, 175 rush yards, 2 rushing TDs at quarterback 12. And again, I think he could be fringy quarterback 10 overall. A guy last season before the hamstring tear, a decent year, but not a great year. 11 touchdowns in 8 games, averaged 247.3 pass yards a game. He was number 12 in deep ball completion percentage, only number 32 in adjusted completion percentage, only number 29 in fantasy points per drop back. But they made some investments in the offensive line. And again, the arsenal, the upgrade there, and the unsupported defense is a good thing for fantasy football purposes. Undervalued. I think Dak will certainly be on the attack this fall. Let's go to Javonte Williams, RB42. And a 161.44 is the ADP. Again, I'm going to ask you the question, overvalued, undervalued, or properly valued on the former Denver Bronco at RB42?
I'm not the biggest Javonte Williams guy, Brad, but he's still only 25 years old, right? Last season, 513 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, but you brought it up, right? Like, he's a decent receiving back. And you look at the depth chart, the guys that I like the most are rookies. Jaden Blue, I do like Phil Maffa. We'll see what he is at the next level. Miles Sanders, I'm pretty out on at this stage of his career. So, at least the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, I think he's going to get the majority of the workload in the backfield unless something crazy happens in the preseason. So I'll say slightly undervalued here. I'd probably have him top 35, to be honest with you still.
Yeah, I think he's probably valued at 42. You make a strong argument. His value is going to be front-loaded. There's no question about it. But as, Eric Chiafala brought up, and we've heard this from multiple sources that have been reported this, that Jaden Blue could be the real deal Holyfield. And it sounds like his role, by the way, I'm seeing Anthony Edwards trot in from the locker room. He's come back on the floor as expected. Ooh. Got the tape job. Looks like he's going to be A-okay. So your bet is still live, my man. But get back to Jaden Blue. Yeah, get back to Blue. I think he is going to be an impact player after week 10, which means that's going to eat into the volume share, the workload of Javonte Williams. Now, Clay is pretty aggressive with his projection. Got him at RB30 overall with 7 total touchdowns, nearly 1,000 combined yards, 41 receptions as well. But look at the secondary analytics this last season in the Mile High City a season ago, number 42 in missed tackles force. The third lowest yak per attempt of any running back in the NFL at 2.38. Yikes. And only number 19 in yards created per touch. So I'm out on the artist formerly known as Juggernaut Javonte Williams. It's a full-blown RBBC. And, again, I think he's going to play the second fiddle over the second half of the season. So, again, I think he is roughly, valued appropriately at RB42, if not slightly overvalued. Let's go to CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 3, 7.60. Guy is a king of consistency. Overvalued, undervalued, or properly valued at wide receiver 3?
I'll say properly valued, right? I have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson only above him. I would have him wide receiver number 3. I know you bring in Pickens, man, but I think he's going to see 6 to 8 targets per game. You have Ferguson, but CeeDee Lamb's going to see at least 150 targets. He's going to catch over 100 balls. I love his skill set. And if he's not seeing 8 to 10 targets, he's going to let Dak know about it. They're pretty familiar with each other. They've been together long enough now where he doesn't hide it if he's pissed off. He just got paid. Yeah, I think he's properly valued.
I say he's properly valued as well. I mean, is it going to be the one of ones? No, I think it's going to be Jamar Chase. And then, a whole host of guys are going to be in the number 2 conversation, including Lamb. He's going to wind up wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 5, unless the injury bites. I mean, that seems like a foregone conclusion. Clay's got it projected for 105 receptions on 153 targets, 1,278 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Exactly, wide receiver 3. He was wide receiver 7 in points per game last year, but much improvement. Pickens will help. A guy that was number 22 in total air yards, number 5 in total yak, number 4 in total route wins, and only had an 86.9 quarterback rating when targeted. Thank you, Cooper Rush. Things are going to really improve for CeeDee Lamb this year. So I think he'll be far more efficient, but properly valued at wide receiver 3. What about his tag team partner now and George Pickens, wide receiver 36, the ADP, 103.43. Horvat, overvalued, undervalued, or properly valued on the new Cowboy?
I'm going to say he's slightly undervalued, actually, a little bit, Brad. I know that, he could be a distraction off the field, but he's 6'3", 200 pounds. I've been really in love with his game since Georgia. He averaged 16.3 yards per reception and then 9.7 yards per target since coming into the league. With not great quarterback play, those 2 marks, 7th and 11th among all NFL wide receivers. And I think he's the perfect fit because, again, CeeDee Lamb is going to see the majority of the targets, and he can play in the slot or all over the field. What they needed was an X receiver, and anything's an upgrade, let's be honest, over Jonathan Mingo. So I think, especially in the red zone, he's going to see some targets. So I'm going to say slightly undervalued, actually, as long as he keeps his head on right.
Yeah, and I think he will. He seems dedicated. Sean Ayers really talked up how studious he's been so far this offseason. Knows that he's behind the 8 ball a little bit, trying to catch up to the rest of the veterans in the locker room. Yeah, he's undervalued. I think he could be a borderline top 30 guy. He's going to see favorable targets. He's got that Gumby-like athleticism, the bend, the contortion. He's like a Cirque du Soleil performer out there on those 50-50 balls chucked in the air. And Dak throws a pretty good one. Again, he was number 12 in deep ball completion percentage last year. I think he's going to flirt with 1,000 yards, going to have a handful of touchdowns, probably catch 65 to 75 balls as well. He was number 14 yards per reception. Remember that a season ago there in Pittsburgh at 15.3. So undervalued on Pickens at WR36. All right, let's quickly go through the prop stop. Dak Prescott over under 23.5 passing touchdowns, minus 115 either way.
Going over, man. Not in love with the running back room, and I like the weapons a lot more than I did even a couple of years ago when he balled out and he had a fully healthy wide receiver room. So I'm going to go over.
Over. I think he's going to have like 26-27. With Pickens and Lamb, are you kidding me? And that defense being as bad and transparent as it is, Dak Prescott invest in his services. He's going to have a hell of a year. What about CeeDee Lamb? 1,115.5 receiving yards. Also minus 115 either direction.
Big number, but he's in the prime of his career. And again, he's going to see the targets. Over.
Yeah, over as well. Clay's got it for 1,278. That feels right. I think he's a minimum 1,200-yard receiver, even if he misses a game or two. So way over for me. What about Pickens? 900.5 receiving yards. Also minus 115 either way.
I lean over, man, but I couldn't bet the over, right? Sounds exactly about right. I don't know if they're going to get 2 1,000-yard receivers, but I would lean over.
I think they will get 2,000-yard receivers. Give me the over. Pickens is going to tear up a lot of mano coverage. All right, let's do a team lean. Over under 9.5 team wins for the boys. The over at plus 100, the under at minus 120. What say you?
Big number, tough division, but my hot take, if it's even a hot take, is that they finished second in the division. Eagles, I don't think it's happened in 2 decades, repeat champs in the NFC East, but the Eagles are that damn good. But I think the Cowboys finished in second over the Commanders with 10 to 11 wins.